Hi there, my name is David, and this is a quick video about modifying a messenger bag. But really the main point is just to remind you that the things that you own are yours, and you can change them if you want. Okay, so I have this messenger bag. I haven't had this one that long, but it's exactly like one that I used to have almost 20 years ago. It's a Chrome Metropolis. This is the original style of Metropolis. I don't think they make this anymore. Fantastic bag, good volume. It's pretty simple feature-wise, but in a very good way. It's got what you need, nothing you don't. But one thing about it is this little loop on the end of the strap is kind of a pain, because the way that with this webbing is very supple, and it slides very easily through the main buckle here. So very easy to adjust your strap length. That's easy. But then the problem is that there's a little slider thing here, and that you can set the length for your loop there at the end, either to take up extra space, extra slack, or to, keep this loop a handy size so it's easier to grab, to tighten with. But this slides like crazy. And for a while I had it kind of tacked in place. You can see this white mark here from this, using gaffer's tape. And I mean by gaffer's tape, the kind of tape that you use in the photo and film industry. Great tape, but it's not good for long-term stuff. This adhesive is kind of becoming extra sticky and powdering, turning to a powder all by itself, all at the same time. Not ideal. Let's put that aside. Now there's just powder everywhere. Great. I am aware that this has kind of pulled through, and this is not the way that it was meant to be. I'm not really interested in getting it back the way it should be, because it just never worked very well anyway. It always slipped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to get this about where I want it, and I'm going to then fold it over, make a little loop here, and I'm just going to use my sewing machine to just kind of tack that in place. And that way it's not going to slip ever again. And if I ever want to change it in the future, I can always just take the stitching out. I thought about taking the existing stitching out here, and actually as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that what I really want to do, and actually what I've done previously on another messenger bag, on a Mission Workshop bag that I've got, I am going to take off this buckle entirely and just sew a loop directly with a half twist so that it stays open and it's easier to grab. First things first, I'm going to get my seam ripper. I'm going to take out the stitching here, remove the buckle. I'll save that for something else, for another day. I've got a whole box full of bits and pieces harvested from other equipment, other bags. And then I will get out the sewing machine, which is currently right here, and we'll go from there. Seam ripper time! I've also got some snips just in case. And I will speed this up. Okay, so now I have gotten this seam, the stitching open. I'm going to back this out. All right, and I've got, of course it's stuck. Okay, I've got this clip that I added, this kind of strap keeper, which is also handy. These are cheap, easy to get, recommended if you don't like the loose end of your messenger bag strap flopping in the wind as you ride. So this will be going back on when I finish. And then this, I forget what this piece of hardware is called, but I will clean this residue off, and I will save this to use in something else. For now, I'll pick that up later. But now I've got this flattened out, so next thing I'm going to remove all of the loose bits of thread, and then get out the sewing machine and move on to the next thing. This was a bit hard to cut these stitches because it's good construction. And I only stabbed myself with the seam ripper once, so that's not bad. Okay, got all the loose bits of thread off of there. Now I will set up the sewing machine and get this thing sorted. Alright, so now I've got it set up right now with pretty heavy-duty needle, pretty heavy-duty thread, because most of what I've been doing recently with this machine is, modifying and fixing bags, things like that. Once I get my skills a bit better, I want to do things like making cycling caps, stuff like that, and this will be great for that purpose. But for now, I'm just using it for a bit more heavy-duty stuff, and it's more up to the task than I would have expected from a pretty regular, everyday kind of sewing machine. This is a Janome G5000. I think it's about 20 years old. I don't really know. I found it in the garbage. I've actually found 3 different sewing machines in the garbage. This is the only one that worked. It works great. The other 2 I passed on to other people who wanted to work on fixing them. I don't know why people just throw away stuff like this, but I will take advantage of it if I have the opportunity. Basically what I'm going to be doing, now if I just make a loop like this, it's just going to be kind of flat, right? But what happens if you take it and you give it a half twist, I don't know why my brain's not doing it right now. Okay, so kind of a half twist, kind of like this. Kind of see, it looks weird. It's always going to look weird because it's like that looks wrong. But the thing is, this always makes it easier to grab because it's not going to lay flat. It's easier to get your hands on. And as I said before, this is something that I did with a previous bag, which I'll show you at the end of the video. I'm going to sew it so that the loop stays open, basically. Okay, and actually I just remembered something that I did with the other bag, which I'll show you right now. Yeah, I'm going to have to move the machine. Okay, so this is a Mission Workshop messenger bag. It's similar size to the Chrome bag. I think this is the Shed? I always get confused on Mission Workshop bag models, but this is a bag that I modified earlier this year. What I actually did was I rebuilt the entire strap because one problem was that the adjustable portion, I wanted it to be a bit longer so it was easier to get in and out of. So I just got some 50mm webbing. I also added a buckle here so that I can, break it in half, which is actually very functional. I often will have a camera on a strap across my body, headphone cables, things like this. And sometimes you've got a strap under this that you don't want under it, or you got one that's over it that you want to actually put under it, and this just makes it easier to do. And also, if you've got a bag that's completely fully loaded with a bunch of heavy crap, just having a buckle here is very convenient because it makes it so you can get the bag off without having to awkwardly lift it up over your head. So this is a very functional upgrade for this. This buckle is not a Cobra buckle. I wish it were. I love Cobra buckles, but they're really f***ing expensive. But this knockoff buckle, same design, same principles, works really well. Earlier this year I rebuilt this whole strap. Only problem that I really ran into was that my machine does not have a walking foot. I think I can fit a walking foot to it, but it doesn't have that much, vertical capacity, so I'm not sure if that's really worth doing. But because of the lack of a walking foot, and probably more to the point, my lack of experience, when it came to, putting this, I don't know what you call that, the kind of this thin webbing, this kind of tape, bias tape, maybe? I don't know. Putting that back around the edges of the strap. You can't see in the video, but it's not pretty, but that's okay. It works. But back to the point, what I did with this strap, and this one, I was actually originally thinking of a third bag, but this one, it does not have the half twist, but rather than sew it flat, I sewed it in the opposite direction. So again, it does, because of that, it does tend to hang open a bit better. You can see that there when it's not against my black t-shirt. But this has worked out really well, so actually I'm just going to do the Chrome bag just like this. And this also has one of the little clips on it, so that, you know, before I get on the bike, I can just kind of clip this onto the other end of the strap, and it's not going to flop around in the wind. Back to the Chrome bag. All right, so here we have the strap. What I'm going to do basically is, like the last one, actually I've decided again that I'm not going to do the half twist this time, just because this is a fairly small loop. On a larger loop, that works out quite well in my experience, but because this is, you know, 5 inches long, flattened, it doesn't, there's not a whole lot of room. Longer loops, the half twist works really well. But so basically I'm just taking this and folding it back on itself, and so then I've got this loop here. Sure, it goes without saying, I am not highly skilled at this, and it's also extra awkward now because I've got tripod legs everywhere. And unlike the strap on the Mission Workshop bag, with this one I can't just take the strap off the bag to work on it by itself. So I've got the bag in my lap. Yeah, it's not ideal, but yeah, here we go. And that's it. Just a back and forth zigzag. And, you know, if I decide I don't like how I've done it, if I decide I wish I had done it a different way, I can always just rip that out and do it again. That's one of the nice things about having a sewing machine on hand. Just having even basic skills to use it, that you can easily just do something like this. Move this out of the way. Then I've got this kind of strap keeper thing here, and I'm just going to go ahead and probably end up putting this thing on upside down compared to how I actually want it, but there you go. I can switch it easily when I need to, but that's the modification. It's done. All right, so now that I'm done filming that, I can move this other tripod. And so really, you know, this modification that I just made to the bag, it is not anything groundbreaking. It's a very simple, very obvious kind of modification. And it would have been a lot quicker if I wasn't trying to make a video at the same time. But now, this messenger bag is basically more how I wanted it. Because now I've got a loop it's not going to slip. It's not going to get bigger, smaller. And the stitching is going to be strong enough that's not going to come undone unless I want it to, in which case I can just rip it out. And yeah. And I did put this clip on upside down. Let me flip that around. But yeah, so now I can go for a ride, get on the bike, adjust my strap, clip that on. Nothing flapping in the breeze. The loop will not shift around anymore, driving me crazy. The main point that I want to make with this is not that, oh, you can do this thing to your messenger bag if you don't like that thing about it, that specific thing. My point is, if you have, in this case it's a bag, but you know, equipment and daily life accessories, things in general that you have, if it doesn't work the way that you want it to, and you see a better way of doing it, and there's a way to modify the thing that you have so that it works for you better, you can do that. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine in this case, probably somebody that you know does. Or if not, there's probably somebody in your community nearby who can do it for you for a very reasonable cost. You know, I do this with all kinds of, I do it with my photography equipment. I've modified cameras. I've modified tripods, light stands, making my own light modifiers. But the bigger point is, if something is not the way that you want it, you can do something about it. If you want to modify the things that you have to make them work better for you, there's really no reason why you shouldn't. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.